Oh, good morning, y'all. There's Tex. This my Tex. Oh. Well, it is Saturday morning. Look at Gypsy, the little puppies, the Pitbull puppy. She's really starting to get in the mix now with the big Cane Corso dogs as they do their sparring. Lord, sorry, branches in the way. But yeah, y'all, this is how they get their exercise, most of their exercise. Look at Gypsy trying to take a leg bone, turkey leg, from Lucia. And they sound vicious. Dang, I cannot get over how tall Lucia is. Lucia is that gray brindle one. If you're new to the channel, Lucia is my 11-month-old Cane Corso puppy, and she's taller than Dolce, the black one, who is full-grown female Cane Corso. Yeah, Dolce's 3 years old. Lucia's 11 months old. And then Gypsy, the Pitbull puppy, is 3.5 going on 4 months old. I lose track of time. That's more or less their age. Yeah, see Lucia totally submitting to Dolce. Dolce is by far the more dominant female. But Lucia is coming into her hormone cycle, so she's starting to exert a little bit more dominance and starting to challenge Dolce. But it's good to see that she'll still submit like she just did. Because if she didn't, oh, look at her throwing her arms on Dolce, the dominant move. Yeah, if she didn't submit, then there would be a real challenge and possibly a real fight. What? Let me just wipe this screen. Oh, much better. You can see now. Yeah, so those are the 3 females. The 2 Cane Corso and the Pitbull. Dolce's like, say something. How dare you? Say something. Try to get this ball from me. Man, y'all, I made a cappuccino this morning. My brother's been staying with me, visiting for a little while, and he's been really using that cappuccino machine. And usually I don't have the patience to make one in the morning. I just make a quick coffee. But I had one the other day. It was so good, so I started to make them, but didn't realize I was out of milk, so I had to use the almond milk. Yeah, it's not as good. It'll do, but definitely there's a difference. Real milk is much sweeter. Oh. Yeah, it's going to be a hot one today in Texas. I think we have another week of just straight up 100 degrees and or higher, 100 degrees Fahrenheit or hotter, triple digits. I'm getting excited, y'all, because in a couple weeks here, maybe at least in a month, we're going to be getting into fall weather. It's going to be gorgeous, 70s. Probably low 80s in the day. And beautiful 60s and 70s in the night. Ozzy. Oh, So there's some kind of critter living underneath this shed because Ozzy won't leave it alone. Excuse me. I hope I'm not getting COVID because my brother had it about a week ago. Maybe I lost track of time. It might have been a week and a half ago. No, it was 2 weeks ago because he recovered. He'd been COVID free for at least a week. Took him about a week to get over it. But anyways, his first symptoms was sneezing. And then, yeah, see, look at him. This is Ozzy. Ozzy is my alpha male 5-year-old Cane Corso. If you're new to the channel. But yeah, anyway, so that's how his symptoms started. He just kept sneezing. And I don't have allergies. I never really sneeze during allergy season. So I don't think it's that. I mean, it's possible, but I doubt it. Yeah, look at him. See? And if y'all aren't familiar with the Texas Hill Country, this is where we are right here. It's Texas Hill Country. If you have a cedar allergy, this is probably not a good place to live because we have tons and tons of cedar trees. As you can see, these are all, they're technically, I think, juniper or some kind of variant of that, but we call them cedar trees. I don't know if it's a true cedar tree, but it definitely smells like cedar. And then this is we have tons of these trees growing wild. Texas persimmon, and wildlife really can sustain themselves off of those berries. They're very nutritious. People make jams out of them. I've got them all over the property. Beautiful trees. And here's another one right here. Yeah, that's another one. Oh yeah, y'all. But yeah, they're extremely drought resistant. They can go months without water. Months and months. Probably all summer. And that's practically what they've done. We haven't got much rain at all this summer. Well, anyways, yeah, I might have to be. I got a COVID test. I'm gonna test myself probably tomorrow if these symptoms keep up. A lot of people have been sick at work with COVID, so it is rampant up, y'all. Whatever the new variant is, it's very contagious. Numbers have been increasing, at least around where I live. There's tags. Taxi. I was surprised I didn't catch COVID from my brother when he was here, because he stayed at my house when he got sick. He got it at one of his baseball games in Houston and came to my house to visit for a couple weeks. And yeah, so I didn't get it. Might have picked it up somewhere else. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I don't have it. I'll let y'all know. I'll do the test tomorrow. Dolce wants to play. Dolce. All right, let me put this coffee down. Gypsy girl. Gypsy girl. Tell y'all, the dogs will. When you have dogs in your life, it's true. It's hard to be in a bad mood when you got dogs because they're just so happy all the time. See, Dolce, sit. Dolce, sit. Good girl. Lucia, sit. Look at her eyes, y'all. Sit down. Lucia. Get back. She's trying to just take it. Get back. Lucia. Sit. Sit down, Lucia. Lucia. Oh, she's climbing up in my mouth. In my lap, I mean. Goodness. Oh, there goes my coffee. Well, so much for that coffee. Give me this. Give me this ball. Get it, Dolce. The three girls. Get it, Dolce. Dolce's got pretty eyes too. They're amber colored. Amber alert. Amber alert. Come on. Okay, Dolce. Lucia, sit. Lucia, sit. Lucia, sit. Sit down. Lucia, sit. Good girl, Lucia. Lucia, sit. She's very slow on her commands lately. Lucia, sit. They go through this stubborn phase. Sit down. Sit. Sit. Lucia, sit. 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 Lucia, sit. 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 Sit down. Lucia, sit. Sit. Good, sit. Good girl. Only took her 20 try. Sit. Sit. Lucia. Good girl. Go get it. Good Lord, she's stubborn. Oh, goodness. You really have to mean your commands because, see, I was kind of sitting and I had a higher pitched voice. Didn't sound like I was serious. Well, Dolce knew because Dolce's more seasoned, you know. She's very well trained. But Lucia being still a puppy, I got to really work on her and mean what I say when I'm around her. I had to stand up and to give her the sit command. And even then, she was kind of slow to sit. So, man, y'all, training a Cane Corso is a lot more work because they're a very dominant breed. And they can have this tendency to be stubborn. And so you really have to put a little more energy into your commands and more persistent. I had to do that with Dolce. So she's already kind of seasoned and trained, but you can see how that process is with the younger ones. It takes a lot more. So Pitbull in the middle. It's a Pitbull sandwich. 2 Cane Corsos. It's gonna be interesting to see when the Gypsy, the little Pitbull, reaches adulthood, what the sparring sessions are gonna look like. It's gonna be pretty intense, y'all. Because Pitbulls, as you know, love to pull, and they're masters at it. They're masters at it. And so she's not going to release any kind of toy that they're pulling, trying to get. She's not going to release it easily to the Cane Corsos. She's going to be a really good match for them. Shoot, even now, as a barely 3 months old puppy, she's a match for them. It's just amazing. Dolce. Get a gypsy girl. Get a gypsy. Get a gypsy. There's Oz, man. Ozzy. What was it? Ozzy. What was it, Oz? Look how tall Lucia is, y'all. Good Lord. I just can't convey on camera how tall this puppy Lucia is, because you really have to have a good reference. Because if you were to see Ozzy in person, Ozzy, even for a male Cane Corso, Ozzy is extremely tall. He's at probably the highest end of the spectrum as far as height goes for a Cane Corso male. I measured him from the withers and looked at the breed standard, and he was like at the highest breed standard. And so for a female, females are typically shorter than the males. For a female and for a puppy, a female puppy to be just about as tall as Ozzy. I just can't even explain. It's just unbelievable how tall she is. And that's why I did the genetic test on her, because I'm like, there's no way. She's got to have some Great Dane in her. But no, she's 100% Cane Corso. Unbelievable. She's already exceeded the height of my full-grown female, Dolce. See, if you look at the two of them together, see how tall she is? I was letting them out the door this morning, and I thought it was Ozzy. It was Lucia, because she's so tall. All right, I'll stop. You're like, you talk about this every single video, how tall Lucia is. But yeah, it's just because it blows my mind. Yeah, y'all. If you are still waiting on, someone asked me to give them recommendations of good breeders. So definitely Senza Tempo, Rachel with Senza Tempo Cane Corso. She's got a YouTube channel. She's the OG. She's been doing YouTube since probably one of the first ones doing it. And I got hooked on her channel. I follow her channel, but she's a pretty reputable breeder, as well as 12 Titans Kennels, outstanding breeder. They're all kind of in the, I think, Virginia, Carolina type area of the United States. Cape Fear Cane Corso works closely with Rachel at Senza Tempo, and Cape Fear also has an excellent breeding program. And I think they have some shared dogs. And yeah, same kind of area. I think the Carolinas, north or south, I can't remember. But yeah, so those are 3 very good breeders that each of them have their own YouTube channel, so you can actually see the puppies. But so definitely keep those in mind if you're looking for a good dog, Cane Corso. But where I got Lucia from is not a. I mean, he's a breeder because he's bred, but Lucia was out of his very first litter from his 2 dogs, his huge female, Catalea, who Lucia looks just like. Yeah, his female looks like a male. She's huge and perfect structure and temperament. And then his male, totally unrelated, named Draco, a fawn-colored Cane Corso. Yeah, so he had the breeding of his 2 personal dogs, Cane Corsos, both AKC registered, both from outstanding lines. And so that's why I got Lucia. I wasn't planning on getting a 3rd Cane Corso, but I just couldn't pass up that litter because like I said, I had been following his dogs for a long time. And when I found out his female was having puppies, I was like, no, I need to have one of those puppies. And I'm glad I did, because she's phenomenal. She's getting a correction. But anyway, so yeah, keep him in mind, because I think he has plans to breed again. He kept back the first pick male named Listo. Listo means ready in Spanish. So his first pick male was Listo. Listo's like Ozzy. If you put Listo and Ozzy next to each other, you probably couldn't tell the difference. Listo is huge. So he kept Listo, and he kept a female as well named Chiquita and Listo. So Chiquita is like the carbon copy of Lucia, except she's solid gray. And so I believe he would have to, so his male, Draco, is neutered now. So he wouldn't be breeding, of course they're all related. He wouldn't breed any of those dogs together. And then I believe he spayed Catalea, his female. But he's got the genetics in Listo and Chiquita. So he would have to find another male for Chiquita to pass the lines, or he would stud out Listo to another really good female. So anyway, he's got the genetics in his pack. So, and I believe, and he hasn't said for sure, but I think he's strongly considered another breeding. I know there's a few subscribers on the channel that really do want a Cane Corso, but they're being responsible and they're waiting until they have the right, the timing is right, you know, the bigger property or whatever. And then lastly is what I'm really looking at, because it's hard to talk about, but you have to be realistic when you own this breed. They don't live forever, unfortunately. They live average, you know, about 10 years on average. I've heard some sites say 8 to 10 years, some say even 10 to 12, and I personally know people who have had this breed that have lived, I think, up to like 13, possibly 15 years, but of course by then they can barely do anything. The quality of life is very low. But anyway, so I know that I'm not going to have these dogs forever. And so I always, for as long as I can, will have a Cane Corso. Ozzy's the oldest, so he'll probably go first. You know, I have less than 10 years with him because he's 5, so definitely less than 10 years. In 10 years, he'll be 15. Now, he'll probably won't make it till 15. And if he does, he won't be able to do anything. But, so I know in about 10 years, I'll be looking for another Cane Corso. And Dolce's only 2 years behind Ozzy, so she'll be going very soon after him. And this is excluding any accidental death or cancer. So if they're healthy, which I'm hoping they will be, just the natural death, I'm looking at it in about 10 years to look for another Cane Corso. Lucia will be my, she's my youngest one, so she may still be around, but she'll be very old around that time. So I'm already thinking about which breeder I'll use, because the breeder that I got Ozzy from, I would have used. She was a very large, one of the oldest breeders. She had been in the business for 30 years. It was Cypress Arrow. But you know, I've got a video out there and it's all over the internet. She had to shut her breeding program down because she was charged with animal abuse in her kennel, and I just won't breed. I won't get another dog from her, even if she was breeding, which I don't think. Hopefully she's not. But so yeah, so I've been always thinking about where am I going to get my next Cane Corso from in 8 to 10 years. I'll be retired from the military at that time, so I'm strongly considering getting a Cane Corso from Force Pride. The breeder is called Force, Force Pride, Force Pride, and they are out of Europe, I believe, Russia. I don't think it's Ukraine. I think it's actually Russia. And as you probably know, the Eastern Europe has phenomenal Cane Corso breeding programs. A lot of the champion lines come out of Eastern Europe, like Serbia. Yeah, but Force Pride, if you go to their site, brace yourself, because you're prepared to be wowed, because all of their dogs are like, whoa. They are all just phenomenal. I don't know. They got some unbelievable genetics in their program. And so I'm strongly looking at, and I actually, before I got Lucia, I almost got a puppy from them. Leave it. He sees something in there, but that's the cactus. Leave it, baby, get out of it. See what it is? Get out of it. You don't want to get caught in that cactus. Yes, so I almost got I actually was about to put a deposit down on a puppy from Force Pride, and I was corresponding with the owner, and a very nice lady, but it was around the time of COVID, and it was also around the time of international relations between U.S. and Russia was getting really pretty heated, And so business dealings with them, I think, were being restricted on a lot of things. And so for me to send, I was asking, how do I send the deposit? It would have, she said you'd have to send it through a friend of mine to another country, and then they would send it to me. And I don't know, I just got cold feet. Because it's a lot of money. I think it was, her price is reasonable, but what makes it so expensive is the shipping cost. I think including shipping, it was going to be around $5,000. I want to say just to buy a dog from her was about $3,000, which is very reasonable, comparable to any breeder here in the States, even lower. But the shipping cost would have driven the price up, and which I was willing to do. It was just the logistics of it is why I got cold feet. But as far as I can tell, she's very reputable. So anyway, that's my plan. For now, I think that's what I'm going to go with, but we'll see. But like I said, any of those breeders that I mentioned in the States here are very good, and you can even see with your own eyes on their websites, on their YouTube channels, how remarkable their dogs are. But anyway, hope y'all having a good day. This video's getting long, and we'll catch you on the next one. Ozzy, what is it, Papa? Ozzy's camouflage back here. Ozzy, what's that, Papacito? Ozzy, what is it, Oz? What is it, Oz?